Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Tonight's story is a heavy one, a story wrapped in royal shame, unraveling dignity, and a heartbreaking fall from grace as Christmas draws near at Sandringham. While families across Britain prepare for warmth, gathering, and tradition, one man who was born into unimaginable privilege now finds himself facing the coldest holiday season of his life. And as the festive lights begin to glow across the royal estates, a darker chapter unfolds behind palace gates, one that the monarchy can no longer hide from or soften. As December opens, it has become painfully clear that the last remaining pillars of Prince Andrew's former royal identity have now crumbled. King Charles, after months of private deliberation and public pressure, has removed his disgraced brother's final and most prestigious honors, the Order of the Garter and the Royal Victorian Order. Both honors, granted personally by the monarch, represent centuries of tradition and the deepest trust of the crown. The Order of the Garter, the most senior chivalric order in the United Kingdom and more than 700 years old, is reserved for only 24 elite members at a time. Its meaning, loyalty, service, and moral standing stands in brutal contrast to Andrew's scandals. And now, his coat of arms has already been stripped from St. George's Chapel in Windsor, taken down quietly but unmistakably, another public symbol of a man the royal family has decided it can no longer defend. Yet, despite this unprecedented humiliation, King Charles has stopped short of removing Andrew from the line of succession. That step would require an Act of Parliament and agreement across the Commonwealth, making the process slow, politically fraught, and far more complicated than stripping personal honors. For now, Andrew remains technically in the succession, though in practice he stands on the outside of royal life, looking in with no chance of ever returning. Even so, one more indignity looms. Andrew is being forced to leave Royal Lodge, the grand home where he has lived for decades. He is expected to move into one of the late Prince Philip's much smaller properties on the Sandringham estate, a dramatic downsizing meant to sever his royal lifestyle once and for all. But the move will not be finished before Christmas. Renovations, logistics, and what insiders call Andrew's deliberate stalling tactics have pushed the process back. Strangely, the delay is a quiet blessing for the senior royals, who are determined to avoid the nightmare scene of Andrew showing up near Sandringham during the family's most sensitive holiday gathering in years. This year, he is not invited, no seat at the Christmas table, no moment in the king's yearly gathering, no place among the family he once represented on the world stage. The fall has been steep. And now, senior security officials warn that Andrew is entering a perilous new reality. With his titles gone and funding slashed, his royal protection is evaporating. One insider put it bluntly: once you remove the status, you remove the infrastructure that keeps someone safe. He is now exposed, like no modern royal has ever been. Despite being a disgraced figure, Andrew remains a high-value target. Recognizable, controversial, and newly vulnerable. Security services fear he is now a sitting duck, at risk from stalkers, kidnappers, extremists, and unhinged conspiracy theorists. His scandals have made him famous in the worst way, and with limited protection, the threats are multiplying. The backlash extends beyond Britain.
During a conference in Liverpool, a 32-year-old member of Parliament publicly branded Andrew a parasite and demanded the monarchy be abolished entirely. Meanwhile, a new YouGov poll reveals that 75% of UK adults believe he should testify before Congress about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, an issue Andrew has tried desperately to outrun. But perhaps the harshest judgment comes from within his own family. Prince William is said to refer to Andrew using a brutal two-word phrase behind closed doors, one so cold and unforgiving that aides say it reveals exactly how deep the future king's resentment runs. Sources say William has drawn a hard line. When he becomes king, Andrew will be erased from royal life with a finality far more absolute than even Charles has enforced. Senior staff whisper that William sees his uncle as a dangerous liability, someone who has poisoned the reputation of the monarchy and deserves no protection from the firm. He refuses to appear alongside Andrew in public and becomes furious at any suggestion of shared engagements. His stance is not simply personal, it is strategic, intentional, and permanent. Meanwhile, the scandals surrounding Andrew's involvement with Epstein continue to intensify. Behind the scenes, officials are terrified that Andrew might attempt to leave the country if the pressure mounts further. Rumors swirl that he could become a flight risk, slipping abroad quietly to evade scrutiny. Some advisors now insist he should surrender his passport until all investigations are complete. Inside Royal Lodge, however, there is an atmosphere of delusion. Staff report that Andrew still demands to be addressed as Your Royal Highness, as if his world has not collapsed, as if the decrees stripping his titles somehow do not apply within the walls of his own home. One insider describes him as living in a bubble, refusing to accept the reality that his royal identity is gone. He rises late, eats breakfast alone, and spends his afternoons watching war films or playing video games in a large sitting room dominated by an enormous television. It is a lonely, stagnant existence, a man trapped between his past privileges and his present disgrace. As Christmas approaches at Sandringham, Andrew stands on the outside of the festivities, shut out of family tradition for the first time in his life. The king and senior royals prepare to gather in Norfolk for the annual holiday celebrations, trying desperately to steady the monarchy's public image. But Andrew's shadow looms large. Every headline, every rumor, every resurfacing scandal drags the family backward, reopening wounds they are desperate to close. King Charles's decision to send Andrew to a modest property on the Sandringham estate is deliberate. Exile, but not cruelty. Distance, but not abandonment. Yet even this compromise risks stirring resentment within the family and outrage from the public, because nothing about this situation is clean. Nothing is simple. Nothing is truly resolved. And so, as the royal family prepares to step into the golden glow of Christmas at Sandringham, one brother prepares for a very different holiday, isolated, disgraced, and stripped of everything that once defined him. The lights will shine brightly for the rest of the Windsors this year, but for Prince Andrew, they have never looked darker. While Andrew appears to have done everything to get onto William's good side, consisting of mostly smiling inanely at public events and acting as if he hadn't just dropped a metaphorical bomb on the royal family, the emergence of yet more emails between Andrew and Epstein have now seen that boat sail into the horizon. And the source says William's move alongside Princess Catherine and their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, to their new family home of Forest Lodge, just over a mile away from Royal Lodge, has only exacerbated his resolve. Catherine shudders at the thought of living so close to Royal Lodge while Andrew is still in it. William wants him gone before they start to move in next week. However, with Meghan's cause for championing women, meaning she is highly unlikely to become an ally to Andrew, Harry also criticised his uncle in his 2023 memoir, Spare, referring to his actions as shameful. Andrew was embroiled in a shameful scandal, accused of the sexual assault of a young woman, and no one had so suggested that he lose his security. Whatever grievances people had against us, sex crimes weren't on the list.